Hi, I'm Todd Jones, host of the podcast Pressbox Access. Here's a clip from my interview with Al Pearce. Al tells us why the 1979 Daytona 500, the race when Cale Yarborough brawled with the Allison boys. 1979 Daytona 500.
Oh.
Richard wins. It's the first full race broadcast. It was on CBS.
Yep.
And on the last lap, we hear the announcer say, "There's a fight." You're there.
Yeah.
What the hell happened?
In my humble opinion, it is the race that made NASCAR what it became. That kick-started what came after that. Richard was running third at the white flag, well behind. No factor to win at that moment. Donnie Allison and Cale Yarborough came off the second turn, pretty much one right behind the other, and Cale pulled down to the inside to try to pass Donnie. Donnie moved down to push Cale into the dirt, which at the time was mud because it had rained early that morning. And Daytona back then is not like it is now. If you got off the racetrack then, you were either in the mud or in Lake Lloyd, one or the other. So anyway, Donnie pushes Cale to the inside. Cale pushes Donnie back to the other way. They go down the back stretch, basically, like this, hitting each other. They finally, Cale turns right, and he and Donnie both go under the wall. And they slide back down to the banking, to the apron, in what is the entrance to turn 3. Well, all of a sudden, everybody's saying, well, who's third? Oh, look, off of turn 2, here comes Richard.
Here comes that 43 Plymouth.
Yeah, the 43 with Richard and then Darrell and AJ, right, in an equal 3-car battle. And as the camera, flashes by the wreck scene, there comes Richard and Darrell and AJ, and they go on to win that race. And moments later, there's this memorable yell from Ken Squire, "There's a fight! There's a fight in turn 3." and Donnie and Cale had gotten out, and understandably so. There was a difference of opinion of who did what to whom. So they started going at it. Cale, I think, if my memory serves, Cale left his helmet on. Donnie foolishly took his off, and they got to flailing on each other. Well, Bobby comes around.
Donnie's brother, Bobby.
Yeah,
right.
Bobby comes around. He gets out, and he goes to his brother's defense, and Cale basically says, well, just 2 against 1, I'll take both of you. So they fight for maybe a minute, maybe less than a minute.
That's not even, it's a pretty good bar fight, but not, there's been
the
better, but seeing these guys wailing away at each other.
Considering who they are, that's the thing.
Right.
If that had been David Sisko and, somebody that we never heard of, and they had been racing for 23rd, would CBS have cared? Well, maybe, but maybe not. So anyway, they fight for about a minute, and helmets are flying, and people are punching each other. And the rescue squad and the officials come and clear it all up. And that was the day, you alluded to it, that was the day that much of America, east of the Mississippi, was snowed in by a terrible, terrible storm.
That's right.
Planes weren't flying, trains weren't moving, buses weren't going anywhere. People had nothing to do.
Yeah, you had 3 channels. You only had 3 channels.
Back then, NBA games had been called off. Hockey might have been on, but who knows? Anyway, the point being, most of America watched that race for the first time. They'd never seen it. And to see a race that important on a national over-the-air network end like that, and then there's a fight, which excited the fans more than maybe the finish.
Oh, hell yeah.
The next day at work, or the next 2 days at work, Ken Squire called it the water cooler factor that everybody in every office in America would gather to a water cooler for their morning water drink at 9:30, saying, "Did you see that race yesterday?" And that basically, I think, got everything started. I think the 79 500 was the biggest deal they've ever had.
The Daytona 500 in 1979, that just opened a whole other world for NASCAR.
Yeah.